Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and so in this video, I'm going to respond to a YouTuber, Margaret McLennan, McLennan. Anyway, she published this video on November 25th, 2016, and the description of it is: libertarians are just conservative with training wheels. Did you just misgender my views? I'm not right-wing. I'm a anarcho-capitalist libertarian nationalist. That's the description of her video, but let's see what she has to say in this video.
Hey guys, it's Margaret, and today I wanted to do a short little video talking about my favorite subject, why I'm right and why everybody else is wrong. Specifically, I mean libertarians, who are really just baby conservatives. They're conservatives in training. Right now on the Twitter.com.
Okay, I want to address your first point there. Are libertarians conservatives in training? Not really. I'm a libertarian myself. Libertarians are essentially people that want less government in your personal life and more fiscal responsibility in the government. But yet, we want to have a small government, a government that doesn't necessarily, go after your privacy rights, like the NSA and all that stuff. And there's something wrong with wanting that. And we're not conservatives on training wheels, far from it. We are actually different from conservatives and different from liberals. I mean, if you see a conversation between a liberal or a conservative on Facebook, or one side of the spectrum talking to the other side of the spectrum, you always see a comment that's like, well, at least you're not a libertarian, because both sides hate libertarians. Kind of how, lesbians and gay people hate or have a distrust for bisexuals. So, bisexuals in the LGBT community are kind of like the libertarians when it comes to politics. So, anyway, what are we going to continue to say?
The alt-right has apparently changed in the last few weeks. I guess there's the alt-right, and then there's a different kind of alt-right. And now I woke up this morning, and there's something called the hashtag new right, which I've never heard of before. But since somebody did coin a hashtag on Twitter.com, obviously this is a completely, fully thought out social political philosophy that was totally not just pulled out of somebody's rear end in the last few days. I think there's new alt-rights because everyone's busy disavowing the Richard Spencer alt-right because there was some kind of video of a whole bunch of them throwing up the Sig Heil. I don't know why anybody on the right would be associated with Nazis, not just because Nazis are, bad people with the whole murdering starting wars, etc. But because Nazi stands for National Socialist, so this is actually the left's problem, not the right's.
So, let's talk about Twitter and the alt-right. There is the alt-right, but the alt-right is on a spectrum. You have the shitposting alt-right, which I'm a part of their page, the Republic of Kekistan, on Facebook, and it's nothing but shitposting and all that. I don't understand the memes or the jokes, whatever. I know I'm part of the generation which is about all the memes and all that, but I really don't get into memes. I'm kind of an old school type guy, so I don't really get the jokes. But you have the shitposting alt-right, which is Republic of Kekistan, and then you have the far right alt-right, which is very racist and bigoted and promotes mass genocide, which is the Richard Spencer brand of the alt-right. But the new right, and I remember reading about this even last year, the new right is not a new version of the alt-right, but it's basically a moderate right-wing, Meaning, okay, we could still be fiscally conservative and socially conservative, but at the same time, we have to realize that there are people on the right side of politics which are making the right wing out to be something that the legacy of the right wing never was. And the new right is just a moderate version of Republican conservatism. That's all it is. And these are a lot of peacenik people. These are people against war. These are people against abortion and against the death penalty. So they are not your mainstream conservatives.
Anyway, the new thing is to disavow the alt-right and to call yourself new right. You know who doesn't have to get into these fights? The libertarians.
Yeah, because we're basically centrist when it comes to politics. You know, we take our right at money and we take our left at social issues, but other than that, you could dish out your arguments on your own. We do not want to get involved. We make that pretty clear. We do not want to get involved in your arguments because they're pointless to us. They serve no purpose to us.
It's actually kind of because the libertarians don't really stand for anything. So here's my problem with libertarians. The same guys who are busy making fun of Facebook for having 71 different gender options are the ones who are calling themselves anarcho-capitalist, prehistoric, libertarian fusionists. Yeah.
Okay, let's look at libertarians on a capitalistic scale. You have the capitalistic libertarians like I do that say, yeah, capitalism has its problems, but it could be fixed and we could still have the same capitalistic system that we always had. And there's, you know, anarcho-capitalists on the libertarian side, which are destroy capitalism and create this fend for yourself society. And there are libertarians like myself and like Penn Jillette and like Ben Shapiro. I would consider him a libertarian capitalist on here. And even Ben Shapiro says that ideology would not work in a democracy. Far from it. It would actually destroy a democracy. It would destroy the fabric of a democracy if it was anyone for themselves. It would destroy a democracy. It would destroy America. As conservative as Ben Shapiro is, he's very libertarian socially, and especially he agrees with libertarians that capitalism has a problem, but yet is a necessity that we need.
Yeah, I'm a libertarian. Don't you dare misgender me and call me a conservative.
You're confusing liberals for libertarians. Liberals, on the other hand, are the people that are saying that there are 76 genders. Conservatives and libertarians actually, as much as we disagree with each other 60% of the time, we actually agree, no, there's 2 genders. 2. There are very few liberals who are agreeing with libertarians and conservatives that there are only 2 genders, but other than that, it's the left that's doing this shit.
Some days I actually feel a little authoritarian, but I do go into my Twitter profile and make sure to change all the hashtags so you know to not call me a libertarian that day.
Libertarians are anti-authoritarian. Real libertarians are anti-authoritarian and totalitarian. Are anti-authoritarian and totalitarian ways of thinking. We're against that way of thinking because that's a type of society that tells people how to live their lives and impels government is in their personal life, sex life, bedroom life, computer life, so on and so forth. Pretty much a reality that George Orwell lived in, and this is why he wrote Animal Farm, and this is why he wrote 1984 in the ways that he did, is because he wanted to show people, no, you don't want a society like this. Trust me, I lived through it. It's awful. We're anti-authoritarian. We believe that, I shouldn't say we believe. we understand that as long as you're not doing anything or saying anything that could actually harm somebody's life, it's okay. But if you do something to harm somebody's life or say something that triggers somebody to harm somebody's life, then you have to be put under investigation, and so we can figure out what you're planning to do in order to harm people's lives even more.
I don't always identify as female. Today I'm feeling a little non-binary, but it's okay. I'll go into my Tumblr and change my pronouns every day so you never mix it up.
Once again, that's the left, and I agree with you. There are people that are just moronic and say that shit. When people use the term non-binary, if you don't know what the term non-binary is, a little off topic, but it's important to bring out. Non-binary means that doesn't have a specific life. Binary is life. So when you say you're non-binary, technically you're not alive. You're not life. Green. The color green is non-binary. The smug is non-binary. My iPhone is non-binary. My shirts are non-binary because they are fabric. Well, this is not fabric, but the shirts are fabric. The flag that was put over my great-grandfather's casket, my prized possession, non-binary. It's fabric. So that's what non-binary is. It's something that is not alive, doesn't have a life. So when people use the term non-binary, I assume they're a walking thin zombie.
I'm a conservative. Before I change something, I have to be convinced that it has to be changed, and that this new idea is the right way to change it. Very simple. If I had a gender for every true political legitimate allegiance there was, I would have two genders. The intersex people in this analogy, I think, would be people who own dual citizenship, so like an American Republican can also be a Canadian conservative.
Okay, people saying that there's 76 genders I agree, are stupid. But here's the thing, though. You could technically say that there are 3 genders. Not just male, not just female, but you could say intersex people are their own gender because these are people born with male and female autonomy. And which is less than 0.1% of the world. But at the same time, though, it's rare, but it does happen. So you could say technically that there's 3 genders, but even people who are transgender transition to one gender to the other. So we still go by 2, but I could push in and say that there's 3. I don't know about you, but that's just my opinion.
If you're mad or triggered, then this is probably the first time that someone has come into your little safe libertarian space and said that you're all absolutely insane and you're arguing over whether or not pot should be legal when the entire house is on fire.
Okay. Libertarians and conservatives agree that safe spaces are fucking ridiculous. Libertarians and conservatives have been talking to each other for a while now because we believe, why I'm using the term believe, we have a firm understanding that open dialogue is important. Open dialogue between people of different ideologies and different ideas is very important. Once again, it's the liberals that are having the safe spaces.
Libertarians don't use their platforms to talk about boring things like regulating cooperation between 2 police departments when 2 different counties are trying to work out, signage bylaws. They just want to talk about pot and how like, the government should just, like, stay out of my life. Like,
okay, are all libertarians pro-legalization of pot? No. There are libertarians who say, yeah, pot should be illegal. I'm a libertarian, on the other hand, who believes... Why am I using the term believe often? Well, in this case, it makes sense. I have a belief that pot should be legal. But here's the thing, though. We do talk about substance more than liberals and conservatives.
Like, if what I put into my body doesn't affect you. Oh.
Well, why are you saying that argument is stupid? It makes no sense. I had instant coffee in here. So me drinking instant coffee is not going to harm your body. It's not that when I drink this, it's going to travel to your stomach. But see, that's a libertarian position I think most conservatives and liberals could get behind, is that, less government in your personal life, the more freedom you have to say and do what you want. The more creativity, or the more money, or the more freedom to do what you want in your own home without the NSA spying on your computer and all that. That's something that everybody should want. So libertarians, when we say that, we're actually advocating a real democracy. But when people say, oh, that's a stupid idea, why do you want personal freedom? And then I would say, well, you don't want a democracy. You want a monarchy or an oligarchy.
Okay, so do you want to talk about regulating sales between states, or maybe maintaining clean facilities, or is that too boring for you?
We talk about substance more than liberals and conservatives.
Libertarianism is popular because, by its definition, it's lacking in depth and therefore inherently fun.
Libertarianism is becoming popular as a political party now, more than ever before, is because people are sick and tired of Big Brother spying on you masturbating, or they're tired of Big Brother taking your taxes away that have no representation. Taxes should have representation, and there's some that do, and in that case I have no problem paying them. But the taxes that don't have representation, I want that money because I could use it for, paying the bills.
Americans get to skip over the boring topics, like whether the overnight rate in Canada should be announced 10 times a year instead of 8 times a year. There are fantastic libertarians. The libertarians are probably doing better than the conservatives on social media right now. The libertarians are definitely doing better than conservatives on social media.
Conservatives and liberals are ideologues. Libertarians, on the other hand, we're genuine free thinkers. This is why people are becoming libertarians, because libertarianism does not require that you always agree with the libertarian platform. Libertarianism basically allows you the freedom to think what you want, to say what you want, without being told how to think or how to feel or what to vote for or who to vote for. While liberalism and conservatism, on the other hand, does exactly that. They tell you how to think, how to feel, who to vote for, and what to vote for.
Media right now. And the reason they're so popular is because the political philosophy that they ascribe to is fun and it is irreverent. And irreverent libertarians will always get an audience, including an audience of conservatives, because they're talking about the cool stuff, the fun stuff. And conservatives love to listen in on that social aspect. But a lot of these libertarians are going to end up being conservative in the next, 5 to 10 years.
There's a difference in conservatism that libertarians don't agree with. Let's look at conservatism from the traditional aspect. Conservatism from the traditional aspect is just agreeing with the current state and how it is, not wanting to change anything. That's one of the main principles of conservatism in its most traditional form. Libertarianism, on the other hand, expands from the original liberal way of thinking, which is not agreeing with the current system, but changing the system. And another traditional liberal platform that libertarians follow is not just bowing your head to the king, in this case, King of England, because he says something that he wants and doesn't really need, but what the people need, the king wants. So libertarians are liberal in the traditional sense. So we will never be conservatives in that way at all. We will never say we're going to bow our head to the status quo. We always say we're going to go against the status quo and say what needs to be said about so society could change for the better.
I'm officially old enough that I can say, well, when I was your age, or now that I'm older, this is what I think, and it's great. I love getting older. I don't know anybody who wouldn't like this. I just get to be cranky at people all the time. I don't think that I know any libertarians over the age of 25. And it's not because they get rounded up and killed like in that Logan's Run movie that I've never seen, just sort of going by what I saw on Family Guy. It's not that we don't like fun, it's just that when you get older, you start caring about things like car loans and paycheck deductions.
And you don't think young libertarians like myself, I'm 23. I'm 2 years from being 25. And you don't think young libertarians like me care about that stuff? We do. We do care about this stuff. We actually talk about more serious topics than liberals and conservatives. We are more of the substance people than liberals and conservatives. When MSNBC said, well, Trump in Russia, there's a collusion. What did libertarians say? We don't like Trump, but this is not going to do anything good for your political party. And conservatives were like, Trump doesn't have any collusion with Russia, blah, 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 left and right going at each other. We only said one thing, in that you're going to ruin your political party, Democrats and DNC, if you talk about the subject. We only give advice. We're part of the substance community. We're the skeptics, okay? We're the skeptics when it comes to politics. Liberals and conservatives, on the other hand, aren't the skeptics at all. They just nod their head and follow the fucking crowd.
It's a lot of fun to laugh at all these gender options until you get a little older, do a little bit more research, and you realize that there are parliamentary bills coming up, in places like Canada, that will throw you in jail if you use somebody's gender pronouns incorrectly.
Yes, and that's a problem. And I call that shit out on my YouTube channel. Anyway, I'm getting the video here. If you want to watch the rest of her video, it will be linked in the description box below. It is 12 minutes and 48 seconds long, but I just wanted to respond to some of her comments because I think she has a misconception of libertarians and libertarianism. Hope you guys enjoy. See ya.